Welcome to all the way teachers and students, where we get to hear teachers and students tell us their extraordinary stories. My hope is that through this podcast, all the way teachers around the world will get some timely suggestions. My daddy's name is called Alan Chan.
Today, I'm delighted to invite Michael Au onto our podcast. So Michael is a full-time secondary school accounting teacher in Hong Kong, as well as being a part-time musician outside of school. Michael was my student while I was teaching at university, and I would say he's not your typical accounting teacher. Let's learn more about Michael's journey into teaching. Welcome, Michael.
Hi, Alan.
Yeah, do you want to tell us a bit more about yourself? Anything to add to that intro?
Sure. Yeah. So I am actually a really young teacher. So I teach for 2 years right now. I am now 23 years old. So in fact, I actually only teach accounting at my high school, but I also take up some music role in school. Like I take up the moderator of the symphony orchestra, and I am also the moderator of the Catholic choir.
Wow.
So,
okay. Well, so my first question that I have for you is actually like, I mean, it seems like you like music so much, then why teach accounting?
In fact, it's a really fun story. Like back in my university choice, my first choice is in fact music. Like I wish to pursue a music degree, but family issue. Yeah. So
sure, no problem.
I eventually take up an accounting, which is my second choice. Back then, I already wished to become a teacher. Like I wish to become an accounting teacher, so I take accounting.
Right. Well, that's literally my first question for you. Like, so you seem very certain that you wanted to become a teacher. When did you have this feeling, like that you wanted to become a teacher?
It probably start on in my Form 6. Like when I actually in my Form 6, I teach accounting already. I teach Form 6 accounting.
So you were teaching other students?
Yeah, actually, I teach my classmates.
Oh,
so I already found that teaching accounting is really, really interesting for me. Yeah.
If I ask you like back then when you were in Form 6, just about to leave high school for university, right? Apart from teaching, were there other career options available to you? Like what, I'm sure you weren't just thinking, oh, I must become a teacher. That's the only thing I will do, right?
For me, it must be a music teacher or even a music performer. So I actually play violin, I play piano, and I play viola. So back then, I actually wished to choose violin as my major.
Right. I remember before you told me that you can play 8 instruments, right? So you named 3 or 4 just now. Do you want to tell us like what other instruments you can play?
So actually, I learn music like simultaneously. Like I would take up an instrument for like 2 years, and afterwards I would just like throw it away and learn a new instrument. So currently, I'm actually learning guitar.
When you say throw it away, does it mean that you've mastered it, or does it mean that you're just fed up of that instrument and then you just learn something new?
I think 2 years is enough for me to master one instrument.
Wow.
So when I reach a certain level, like maybe grade 8 or something like that, and I will switch to another instrument.
I am just so jealous right now. Like, so let me just tell you a quick story about me. So I literally cannot play any instrument. So I learned how to play the keyboard when I was younger, and I didn't learn because my brother was learning. So I thought, oh, I want to learn too. But then I didn't. Yeah, you could say I don't have that musical sense, but that would be having a fixed mindset, right? But recently I bought a little keyboard, like a tiny one for my daughter. And then I was trying to teach her how to play it. And the only song that I can play is Happy Birthday. So when you tell me you know 8 instruments and you can master them in 2 years, I'm like, oh wow. Anyway, back to you. So I know that you've had only just starting your teaching career. So do you want to give us a glimpse? How has it been so far? Because those first 2 years can be really tough, right? How has it been so far?
So I have to tell you one story before I start this. Yeah. I actually had studied in two secondary schools. So from my
Oh.
Form 1 to Form 3, I'm in a co-ed school. And starting from Form 4, I switched into a boys' school. And my experience, by the way, I actually teach in a girls' school afterwards. So I want to
Okay.
compare about co-ed school, boys' school, and girls' school. So for co-ed school, I think I will easily get distracted because there are like girls, boys
Too
here
many
around,
distractions.
too many distractions, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you may found different couples already in class. So sometimes it's quite ignoring for me. Yeah. So but that's not the major reason why I switched school. But anyways, in before because of music, so I switched to another good boys' school, I would say. So in a boys' school, it's really many violent acts like hitting someone in class
Okay.
or throwing anything around the classrooms. It's quite noisy. But so throughout the high forms years, I would say teachers may not be quite important for me, like school teacher, because we
That's
actually
interesting.
do many tutorial class afterwards. So
I've heard about
I
this
was
from other people
yeah.
too. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at
Keep
first
going.
glance,
Yeah.
I was quite afraid how a girls' school would be. I thought in a girls' school it would be similar to a boys' school, but
You mean
they
them
like
them being very violent?
the behavior. But
Okay.
but in fact, I think girls' school is quite good for me, quite suitable for me, because
Yeah.
this girls' school is really quiet. They pay attention in class, and as a teacher, it's really a good place for me.
So in terms of like discipline, it's been reasonably easy or easier,
Easy
right? I
to
guess.
manage the classroom. Yes, and they are paying attention. They are not
Yeah.
falling asleep. Yeah, and
What's
as a
been
teacher
challenging
relationship there is
then?
really good.
Yeah. I mean, I think I guess for a particularly like early career teachers, like when you're first learning to teach, I think it can be quite useful to have students who actually pay attention, who actually do what you tell them to do, right? But have there been challenges? I'm sure there have been, right?
For challenges, I would say sometimes I would teach too fast for them. So I think it's quite uncommon for a comment for teaching too fast for a young teacher. But for me, I usually teach too fast because I actually teach in a tutorial center for like 3 years already before I get
Right.
into a big school.
Yeah.
So in a tutorial center setting, you have to be as fast as possible. You have to deliver your knowledge. So when I switch from a tutorial center to a day school, sometimes they found it too fast for them. So yeah. So what I improve is I actually distribute some cards for them to give comments like every month.
Tell me more
Starting
about
from
that. I'm interested to know more about that. Yeah.
so I really wish to know how they feel. So I distribute some card and I said that, oh, you do not have to write your name on it. So you just write your comment and I won't know your your writing, right? So yeah. So
Okay.
they actually give me some feedback and most of them say that I teach too fast and then I adjust and it turns better and better
Interesting.
now.
Do you give them a guiding question to write for the card, or you just
Just
ask them?
I say in terms of my teaching pace or my teaching style, my homework, and
So does that mean that each month you might have a different theme or different question that you want to ask them?
yes. So it starts for like 3 to 4 times, and
I
then
really like that because that shows how open you are to feedback and wanting to improve. And sometimes it can be quite difficult for teachers to want to ask students for feedback. And so I'm very glad that you did that. Yeah.
yeah, and that's how I improve. But so far, I actually don't find any challenges at all. Maybe I'm
Okay.
too
How about
confident.
emotions? Like, I mean, one thing that has, I mean, I know some teachers who teach in girls' school where they say, oh, yeah, they're well behaved, but sometimes, emotions can be a bit difficult to manage or to help them handle their emotions. How do you feel about that?
For me, in my class, is quite supportive. Like I won't
Yeah.
look down on any people. So when I
Yeah.
support them, they actually won't cry in my class, right? So emotion
So,
management for this school is quite good.
so far, no students have cried or had
You
any
shouldn't cry.
emotional. Oh, that is very interesting. Okay, that's fine. Right. If we move on to the main part of the podcast, like each episode, I just want to invite the guests to take a topic or an area that you are passionate or fascinated about, and you want to just talk about a bit more. So,
Yeah. So for me, I would like to talk more about how I create a classroom that is perfect for teaching. So
go for it.
how I
Yeah.
actually create classroom environment. Like it is the maximum efficiency for them to learn and for me to
Yeah.
teach.
Yeah, sure. So what do you think is like the foundation for that then?
So I would start with talking about the component of it. The first part
Yep.
is when I enter a classroom, I
Mm.
think the conditioning is really important.
Mm.
So actually, I would turn really, really cold, like 18 to 20 degrees Celsius.
The
Like I would
aircon.
turn on both aircon in my classroom.
Mm. Okay.
Even if it is cold, I will still open my aircon inside because I think that a 20 degrees Celsius around this range is suitable for them to learn. If it is too hot or if the air circulation is not enough, so I think they will easily fall asleep in class. So I
Okay.
think
So you want to make
keeping them in a
them
cold
more
environment,
alert, right?
yeah, keeping them into a more optimum
Mm.
temperature for them to learn. So I would say, so I would actually turn on the aircon every time. So
Okay.
so
Any environmentally friendly policies that
do that.
or teachers who care so much about the environment come tell you off about this?
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
No
Yeah.
problem at all.
So first of all, the environment. Yeah. What's next then?
Oh, the next important thing I think for new teachers, some new teachers may not greet students in class. So I think greetings is really, really important as a classroom
Yeah,
management.
just like a basic greeting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, because I think firstly we have a relationship as a teacher, as student. The you have the correct distance by greeting. And another point is you have to get ready before you greet. So I would make sure that they have all the notes, they have all notebook, and they have all
Yep.
calculators on their table before I greet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So you make sure they're ready before you start the greeting, right?
yes, and to grab their attention back to the class because
Mm.
I am teaching elective subject, so there are a lot of classroom switching and a lot
Yeah.
of
So they're moving from different classroom to your classroom, right? Yeah.
so greetings is the second point that I want to mention to have a good environment. Yeah. And the third point is I would usually give a lot of break during class. So for 40 minutes lesson, I would usually
Yep.
give like 5 to 10 minutes break. So if for accounting, we actually have 2 hours lesson
Okay.
together.
Okay. Yep.
Like
Yep.
3 periods. So I would give around 3 breaks within.
Three breaks of each 5 to 10 minutes each, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So the main reason for this is firstly for them to go to toilet.
Yeah.
Like yeah, and the second one is for them to sleep. Really,
So
they need
like
to sleep.
a power nap.
Yep. Because when you concentrate for like 20 to 30 minutes afterwards, you will really feel tired. So I will let them sleep, and basically like 75% of them will sleep during the break.
Yeah. Wow, that's actually really good. Actually, there's something that I don't think I taught you in your class, but there's something that I often teach to primary school teachers, particularly which is called brain breaks, and then basically that's what you're doing. So because the brain can only pay attention for a certain amount of time, and so of course the younger the students are, the less they can pay attention to for, and so it's actually a really good idea to just give them a very short break. Like you said, go to the toilet, take a quick nap if they need to. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and then the last one I would say is some sudden game for them to entertain them.
Okay.
Like it's interesting. Like when we feel really really tired, and I would just stop the lesson, and then okay, let's play some games. So the most
Do you have a
common game,
few? Yeah, it's about to say you go for it.
the most common games like I like is in Chinese we call 狼人杀. So it's basically
Okay.
there are two alliances, and they have to guess each other whether which is which, and then you have to kill one another.
Some of my students told me about this. I remember my students were really into it's some kind of wolf. Yeah, I know this game. Yeah. How long does it take to play the game though? Is it not quite a lengthy game?
It's like 20 to 25 minutes.
20. Okay,
But it's
great.
okay.
So
It's okay. Yeah, because
right.
they are really tired.
Yeah. So if I were a principal walking past, right, and they see, oh, how come they're having so much fun playing this wolf game? Would you ever worry about that?
I think it's fine. I think it's fine because
Mm,
I would ensure myself to get all the syllabus done within my
mm.
syllabus because my subject is quite flexible because I do not have to do it with another teacher. So I just teach
You can control the
entirely
pace,
the
right?
whole DSE syllabus in my school.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I can control any paces. So,
Well,
so
I guess given that you were told that you teach too quickly, right?
yeah.
Then it's probably a good idea to have brain breaks. It's a good idea to have sudden games. And I can imagine the students must be quite excited when they get the chance to play games rather than
Mhm.
always having to focus on the curriculum and the syllabus, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's the foundation of your very efficient classroom environment, right? One is just the room temperature, making sure you greet them, having little breaks, and also sudden games. Anything else to add to that?
Mm. So I actually have a lot of experiment with my Form 4 because they are
Yeah.
my first first classes. So they are now Form 5 now. So
Mm.
I use a lot of different teaching techniques. So
Yeah.
one of them is I allow them to write their own questions in accounting. So
Oh,
accounting is like math.
brilliant.
Yeah. So
Mm.
I let them to actually write their own question and then
Mm.
treat that as a test for them. So
Mm.
so when one people finish writing a question, I will give it to another student, as another student have to complete it. Yeah. So I try
When
a
you
lot of.
do this, I mean, obviously it can be difficult for students to write their own questions, right? Were there any things that you did to help them to write questions better?
Oh yeah. So basically there are two types of person in my class. The first one is
Mm.
really capable person, so they
Yep.
can just complete it. They can just
Okay.
write a question and complete it. And some
Yeah.
of them, a minority of them is a little bit weak. So for them, I would actually ask them to do all the questions set by their classmates instead of setting their own question.
Mm. Mm.
So
Mm. Mm.
so they have to provide a marking scheme for
Mm.
another student. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so they have a slightly different role to play, right?
Yeah, yeah, different roles.
And
But
what do you think about the results then? So after trying it for a little bit, how do you feel about it?
it's really good. Like because some of them actually just copy my structure of the questions and just change the
Mm.
number. They also learn many
Ah,
things.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually I will use those questions as my future exams and test questions. They're
Ah,
really good. Yeah.
they must have said really good
Ease my
questions.
workload as well. Yeah.
That's great. Actually, that again, I just want to support this with a little bit of what I've read myself. Like, so in terms of really effective strategies for helping students to remember, the most basic one obviously is giving them exam papers, right? But students can get really bored if you just keep giving them exam papers. So I always suggest to teachers, try getting students to set questions because they have to understand the concept even more when they have to set questions. And even if they don't fully understand, when they try to use your question as a model to kind of reset the question, I think that's very effective to help them to at least know how the question is written, right?
Yeah.
That's brilliant. You have lots of really good ideas for kind of really optimizing your classroom environment. Was there anything else that you wanted to add that we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, I have another teaching strategies that I want to
Go for it.
share.
You have
Yeah.
lots to share, I can tell. You're bursting with ideas.
The next one is actually I would let them to teach in class. So
Great.
my class
That's a
size
wonderful
is
idea.
really
Yeah.
small. I have a
Mm.
class of like 7 students only. Yeah.
Mm,
So
mm,
I
mm,
gave
mm,
them a chance, each of them go out for like 30 minutes really. For like 30
mm.
minutes and then step to explain one full questions.
Yep,
But of
yep,
course
yep.
that full question is set by me. Yeah. But
Mm,
they just have to do it in class and show the steps and to
mm,
teach
mm.
because I believe that teaching is the fastest way, more efficient way to learn.
It
Yeah.
is
To un
absolutely, yeah.
yeah,
Is there
but
any?
yeah,
Mm. You
for
you
me
first.
the topic selection is crucial. Like I
Yep.
would pick the topic that they work really weak for them. Like
Mm,
for student when they have a weak topic, so I will
mm.
allocate that particular topic for them to work on it.
That's
So
interesting.
that
So rather than picking what you think they'll be good at, you try to allocate like one
pick
area
the weak.
which you feel they're weaker at, and then hopefully in the process to become better in that area, right?
Yeah. And
Okay,
turns
so
out it really working. So
yeah, how
that's
often do you do it then? Like, do you do like once a week or just once
just
a unit?
once every semester, like every half
Mm,
year.
mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm.
It
Okay.
can't be too frequent because I will not have time to continue my
Yeah.
schedule.
So it's always a balance, right? But if I ask you a question, so obviously you mentioned that you have very small class size. So I think you also appreciate that maybe this is something easier when you have
Mhm.
a small class. If there are teachers out there who are listening and they have, let's say, a standard 30 students in the class, do you think it's still possible to get students to set questions for one another or to teach one another?
I think setting questions is okay because
Yeah.
I I did it in Form 3 as well. In my Form 3,
Mm.
it's like 100 students.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
they set their own questions, but for it's quite time consuming for me to really read
Mm.
each question and to see if there is any
Yeah,
errors. But
yeah.
afterwards is good. Like they have 100 extra questions for them to practice. So I will
Mm.
actually print it out and I will distribute to all of them.
Yeah, yeah. How about teaching each other?
Teaching each other, I think it can be in the form of two, like pairing them up
Yeah,
to teach
yeah.
and teach just like 1 to 2 minute short period of time
Yeah,
during class.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So kind of make it into a smaller chunk and also make it into something that isn't like, oh, one person coming out to the whole, like in front of the whole class to teach, right?
Yes, but
Yes.
before this teaching strategies, you have to ensure that most of them are capable in this subject. Like
Mm, mm.
if they are just weak students together, so they can't really explain anything. So
Yeah, yeah.
the time
And,
will
and
be
and and
waste.
I guess if they are rather like weak or not so confident in that subject, then they might also like really struggle to have the confidence to come out to talk to anyone about it, and they might feel, oh, I don't know anything, and they just give up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing all those wonderful ideas about how to optimize the classroom environment. So if I move on to the quick fire questions, are
Yeah.
you ready for that?
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
How would your students describe you?
So I would say two words. The first one is efficient, and the second one is overconfident. So
Overconfident.
yeah,
Okay.
so let me talk about more on the overconfident
Yeah,
first.
go
So
for it. Yeah, yeah.
even my panel had tell me that I am too confident in class.
Mm,
Like every teaching practicum when she came in, she would tell,
mm,
"Oh, you were so confident." But that
mm,
is actually a good thing for me. But
mm,
sometimes I would just be too confident. But it's totally fine for teaching. But
mm.
when I have to cooperate with others, sometimes
Yeah,
this confidence may become a bad thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that? I'm just curious, where do you think this confidence comes from? Because like you mentioned, it is rare for like a teacher so early in their career to be already so confident in their own teaching. Like, where do you think it came from?
I think it came from teaching in a tutorial center. Like
Yeah, right.
yeah, you have to be super confident. You have to deliver the knowledge as confident as
Mm,
possible. Yeah, and to be
mm.
on point. So this is a kind of a training during the 3 years for me to be confident right now.
Right.
The
Great.
second thing
Got.
is I think I really mastered the whole subject at all. Yeah.
Mm,
So I
mm.
mastered accounting already. I can teach anything. I don't
Right.
yeah, I understand every question. So when you ask me, I just answer you. Yeah.
I think that's a really good point. Yes. Okay. How about your favorite go-to activity in the classroom? Is there one that you particularly enjoy doing?
Mm, it should be giving them some break.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because giving them break, at they can sleep and they can do
Mm,
anything they want. And during that time, I can actually talk with the students more
mm, mm, mm,
in
mm,
a
mm.
casual way.
Yeah,
So
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah,
Get to know
so
them a bit better, right?
yeah, and see how they found the subject interesting or not, or just daily chatting.
Interesting. Okay. How about online tools or resources? Anything that you like, particularly
So
from
in my
the
class, I
internet?
actually use GoodNotes and iPad during
Good
class,
notes.
and
Okay.
I will screen share that on my Zoom and to
Yeah.
display the Zoom in active
Yeah.
panel. Yeah.
For
So
GoodNotes, is it like a paid app? Because I have heard of it before, but is it a paid app?
it's a paid app
Mm.
developed by a Hong Kong people.
Oh, okay.
at HKU. Yeah, so basically it's a note-taking app, so you can highlight, you can draw anything on
Mm,
that
mm,
board.
mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm,
And
mm,
usually I will distribute a hard copy of notes for my student, which
mm.
is developed by me, and
Yep.
then I would display that onto the Good Notes
Mm, mm.
student version, and I start writing on it.
So you enjoy like kind of being able to write on your iPad rather than
Yeah,
like whiteboard or the blackboard, right?
yeah.
Okay.
In
Yeah.
fact, we are everything is turning to digital right now. So all of
Uh,
our teacher is actually using the active panel instead of the whiteboard.
right. Yeah. Okay, sure. Okay. What do you think is something that teachers can do there for their own well-being?
So you mean hobbies or leisure time?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, teaching, well, for you, teaching doesn't seem that stressful, given how you talk about teaching. But generally, I mean, teaching is a very stressful occupation, right? So there's so many different things to deal with apart from the teaching itself. So yeah, anything that you think will help teachers to care for their own well-being?
So I think having workout is really important. So
Mm,
doing exercise, because
yeah.
sometimes when you feel stressful during night, I will just go around and to do some gym or
Yeah,
go to bicycle,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and but for me actually music is already one of the hobby for me to relieve my stress. So I
Right.
can play piano, yeah, I can play
Yeah.
violin, yeah. So
Yeah, that's very true. Well, I can always play the keyboard. I can just play Happy Birthday over and over again to help relieve my
yeah,
stress. No, but true. Yeah, I think having an instrument there or a variety of choices of instruments to help you to relieve your stress, as well as the exercise there. Right.
yeah.
Any funny, strange, scary, touching stories from the classroom so far in your 2 years of teaching?
Mm, I think it's for my Form 6 student, like because they are leaving already, but I
Mm,
actually have a weekly mock session with them. So
okay.
they have to come back and to do the mock, but that is not compulsory.
Okay.
But they are really, really, really hardworking. So
Yeah.
they actually come back. Even for weaker student, they wish to
Mm.
come back as well. So I'm really touched about it.
Oh, okay. So you're kind of surprised that even though it's not compulsory, they still come back, right? And
Yeah.
it seems like they care a lot about the subject. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Okay, what's one question that you have for me? So I've asked you so many questions already, right?
Um, can I ask, do you think teacher as a career can last long? Like, would you continue to become a teacher until you retire, or you would like to
That's
choose
a
another
very
career?
interesting question. I can record a whole podcast episode about this. I would say this. I think the people who enjoy teaching, uh,
Mm,
they can keep going and be in the profession for a very long time. I guess the danger is sometimes for those who don't actually enjoy teaching and they're there maybe just for the holidays, for the money, even though there's not much money there, right? But those teachers, like after the first couple of years, right, they
mhm.
will start to hate going to the classroom. They won't look forward to teaching at school. And so I would say it really depends on the person and the personality. Um, like I don't know if your question was specifically asking about me or in general. Do you want to know about
In
me
general.
or in general? Yeah. So I would say for those teachers who actually, like I said, find joy in helping the students, then you keep getting new students every year, right? And each year is a new challenge. So the students are different, even though the syllabus or the curriculum is the same, you find different ways to help the students in front of you. So I think there's a lot of joy in that. And so for me, like as an example, even though I do some coaching now, life coaching, but I still want to have a bit of teaching because I really enjoy that part of my life. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So my last question for you is simply, looking back, I mean, not a long career, 2 years, but looking back, I mean, when you first started teaching that first, or even when you started teaching at the tutorial center that you mentioned, right? Was there any advice that you would give to yourself now, like something that you wish you knew earlier rather than, okay, the things that you know now?
Yeah. The first thing is I think one should be passionate about teaching before
Mm,
you enter as a teacher. So
mm, mm,
if you find passion in teaching, you won't be stressful at all. like me,
Mm,
because I really found going going to school a really happy time for me. Like
yeah,
it's not a job, it's just my interest in attending a class. So when I have that kind of attitude, I don't I will feel really joyful teaching in a class and no stress at all. And that's how my mentality to support
yeah.
me to continue as a teacher.
Yeah, that's really beautiful, that. And so I just want to say thank you for coming onto the podcast. I just really appreciate the conversation, just to find out how much you experiment with different things. I think that's such a great mindset to have, to play around with different things. So they may or may not work, but you're always looking to try different things to help your students. I think that's so important, that you keep doing that. And I thank you for your just honesty in describing your classroom and your openness to share all the different things that you do to optimize your classroom environment. Yeah, so thank you for coming onto the podcast, Michael.
Thank you.
I really appreciate Michael's teaching mindset. He's open to feedback from his students, and he has a clear vision of what the optimal classroom looks like for him. I'm confident that I can take Michael into any classroom of any grade level with any class size, and he would still thrive. And that's because he would play and experiment with different ways to teach his students better. For Michael, teaching is not just a passion, but it's an art form. I hope you enjoyed listening to Michael's extraordinary story, and please do join us again next time on Ordinary Teachers and Students.